You ain't got a clue what goes on inside my heart. It gets worse when we're apart. True, it's always you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Mary Paula, and in today's video I'll be using these 3 shades of yarn, and I'll be working with 2 strands of each to create this tulip top. So I named it the tulip top because of the tulip stitch used in this design. And I'm using this yarn which doesn't have any specific crochet details on it, but it was available to me at the moment, and I love crocheting, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. Like I said, I'm going to be using 2 strands. I'm also going to be using size 3.5mm hook, a pair of scissors, a measuring tape, and let's begin. Yeah, also you can use any yarn of your choice. And a quick tip for making crochet tops like bralettes or any small tops is to use a smaller crochet hook than usual. So this ensures this is going to help your stitches to be tight and the top is going to fit properly. So using a smaller crochet hook just ensures that the top holds its shape well and it fits perfectly, okay? Alright, so I'm going to start off by making a slip knot. So grab the yarn, wrap it around my finger, bring it out, and then insert the hook and drag a loop from behind, then drag. So that's a slip knot. Then I'm going to make 25 chains. So make 25 chains. So when I have my 25 chains, I'm going to skip the first 2 chains, 1 and 2, and into the 3rd chain I'm going to make a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into that chain, grab a loop from behind, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Now you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. Go into the next chain and do the same thing. So I'm going to do double crochet stitches in each remaining chain until I reach the end. So continue until you get to the end of your chain, and then I'll come back to tell you what to do in the last chain. So here's what I've worked, and I have 1 chain left, the last one, and into that last chain I am going to place 4 double crochet stitches. So here's the first one. I'm going to make 3 more into that same chain, the second one, the 3rd double crochet stitch, and the 4th one. So I have 4 double crochet stitches in the last chain. All right, so I'm just going to continue working this way. So it's going to form a curve at the top, so I'm going to be working into the opposite side of the stitches now. So I'm not going to go into that chain anymore. I'm going to go into the next stitch, the opposite side of the next stitch, and place a double crochet stitch, and into the next stitch, opposite side, I am going to place a double crochet stitch, and I'll continue placing double crochet stitches until I get to the end. Okay, so here I am at the end, and to end this row I am going to place my last double crochet stitch into the opposite side of that stitch. So I'm ignoring the chain 2 that we skipped at the beginning. We're not going to be working into that. So I'm going to place an incomplete double crochet stitch, because here's where I'm going to change colors. So now I'm going to pick my new color, make a slip knot, and after making my slip knot, I'm just going to insert it into the hook and use it to complete my double crochet stitch. Okay, then I'm going to chain 1 and turn the project, and then I'll go into the very first stitch and place a double crochet stitch. So I just want to cut the yarn and sew it in. Like, I'm going to grab the yarn this way, just so that I'm going to sew in the yarn tail while doing the double crochet stitch. So I'm going to grab it like this and go into the very first stitch, just watch. And if you can't do this, you can just ignore this part and cut it at the end, but I just want to sew it in for a clean finish. So do the first double crochet stitch and go into the next stitch and place a double crochet stitch. and into the next stitch. While grabbing the yarn tail, just place your double crochet stitches, and from here I'm just going to be placing a double crochet stitch into all of the stitches until I get to the top. Okay, so you can cut now. You can see it looks better. That's how I hide the yarn tail, and I'm just going to keep working my double crochet stitches into all of the stitches until I get to the top. So I am at the top now, and I'm just going to locate the topmost stitch, and into that topmost stitch I'm going to make 3 double crochet stitches. So most times I just eyeball it, but it is the second one among the 4 double crochet stitches that we made together. So I've made into the first one among the 4 double crochet stitches, and this is the second one. Now I am going to make 3 double crochet stitches, 2 in the third one into the same space. Okay, so you can place a stitch marker into the middle stitch because we're going to be working into that middle stitch. We're going to be working 3 into that middle stitch from now or henceforth. All right, so into the next stitch now I'm going to make 1 double crochet stitch, and into the next one 1 double crochet stitch, into the next one 1 double crochet stitch, and from here I'm just going to be working 1 double crochet stitch into all of the stitches until I get to the end. Okay, so this is what it looks like. All right, so continue until you get to the end of the row. So at the end now I am going to make an incomplete double crochet stitch. So I have 2 stitches left which I'm not going to work in. Then I'm going to pick my new yarn, make a slip knot, insert it into the hook and use it to complete the double crochet stitch. Then I am going to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. Then I'm going to turn the project. So this chain 3 stands for a double crochet stitch and a chain 1. So double crochet stitch and chain 1, and then I'm going to skip the next stitch, and into the following stitch I am going to make a double crochet stitch. Okay, then chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the second one make a double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and into the second one make a double crochet stitch, then chain 1, skip 1, make a double crochet stitch into the next one, and I'm just going to continue working like this until I get to the top. Okay, all right, so here I am at the top now, and as you can see this is where I have the 3 double crochet stitches in one space. So I'm going to skip this stitch, and into that the first one of the 3 double crochet stitches I made my double crochet stitch. All right, so into the middle one, so this is the 3 double crochet stitches. I've worked into the first one. Into the middle one I am going to place 3 double crochet stitches, 2 and 3, and into the next stitch. So this is the third one of that 3 double crochet stitches I made in one space. So into that next one I'm going to make a double crochet stitch, then chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and into the next one make a double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip 1, into the next one make a double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the following one make a double crochet stitch, just like we did on the other side. And I'm going to repeat that until I get to the end. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. So I am at the end now, and there is 1 stitch left, and I'm going to work into that last stitch because I can't just leave it that way. So I worked an incomplete double crochet stitch there because I'm about to change colors again. So insert and use it to complete the double crochet stitch, then chain 1, turn the project, and into the first stitch I'm going to make a double crochet stitch. Then I'm going to go into that chain 1 space now and make a tulip stitch. So yarn over, go into that space, drag a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. So now you have 2 loops, yarn over, go into the space, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and now you'd have 3 loops. Yarn over and go into the same space, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2, and now you have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all the 4 loops, yarn over and chain 1 and chain another 1. Okay, so yarn over, go into the next space, insert your hook, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over, insert, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over, insert, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2. So now you have 4 loops, yarn over and pull through all the 4 loops and chain 2. Then go into the next space, insert your hook, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2, insert your hook, grab a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Okay, insert your hook, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops until you have 4 loops on the hook. Then yarn over and pull through all the 4 loops, then chain 2. So this is what it looks like, and I'm just going to continue doing this stitch until I get to the top. Okay, so I am at the top now and I have 1 chain 1 space left. I'm just going to make a tulip stitch into that last chain 1 space. Okay, then here I'm just going to chain 1. Okay, then I'll go into the next stitch. So look at what this is, the middle 3 chains, and then there's this 2. I'm going to go into that first one, make a double crochet stitch into the first one among the 3 double crochet stitches we made. I'm going to make a double crochet stitch there. Into the middle one of the 3 double crochet stitches, I'm going to make 3 double crochet stitches in that space, and 3. Then into the next stitch, I'm going to make 1 double crochet stitch. Okay, into the next one, 1 double crochet stitch, and then we've come now to where we have the chain 1 space again, and into that space I'm going to make a tulip stitch, chain 2, and from here now I'm just going to continue making the tulip stitch into all of the chain 1 spaces until I reach the end of this round or of this row. Okay, so until I get to that end, and I'm just going to place my last tulip stitch there, chain, so I'm going to chain 1, and here I'm going to change colors now. So I'm changing to the green color, made my slip knot, insert it into the hook, and I'm just going to use it to, I'm going to drag it out of that chain 1. Okay, so that will be my chain 1 that I'm going to use. That chain 1 is going to serve as my turning chain, and from here I'm going to be working into the eyes. So let's call those the eyes. So into the first stitch I'm going to make a double crochet stitch, so that's one of the eyes of the tulip, and then into, so I just cut my yarn, okay, and I'm going to tie just to secure it. Okay, all right, so into the next eye, okay, that is that stitch there, I'm going to make a double crochet stitch. So I am not going to be working into the chains, I'm just going to be working into the 2 eyes of the tulip. So a double crochet stitch into the next one, a double crochet stitch. So into, just take a good look at it, I think you can see what I am doing. All right, so just continue working into those points that are at the top of the tulip. So you can see there it's 1 and 2. So I'm just going to continue working double crochet stitches into this tulip eyes. I don't know what to call that, but they look like eyes and they are not. Anyway, so I'm just going to continue working that way until I get to the top. And so I'm at the top now. I'm just going to continue working into every stitch. Okay, so this is where I have the chain, the 3 double crochet stitch. I'm going to place a double crochet stitch into the first one. So into the middle one, I'm going to place 3 double crochet stitches, 2 and 3, and then into the next ones, the following ones, I'm just going to place 1 double crochet stitches in them. Okay, so I've come to the point where I have the tulip stitch again, and I'm just going to keep working into the 2 eyes of the tulip. So there and there. Okay, just watch. So I'm not working into the in between the tulip stitches, I'm just going to the top, and there are 2 pointers at the top that I am working in. So I'm just going to continue working until I get to the end. So I'm at the end now, and I'm going to change colors again. I already did my slip knot to make it easier. Then I'm going to chain 3. So this is the point, this is the part where I'm going to do double crochet stitch. So I'm repeating this white row part. So that chain 3 stands for a double crochet stitch and a chain 1. I'm going to skip 1 chain, and into the second one make a double crochet stitch, chain 1, skip 1 chain, into the following one make a double crochet stitch. Okay, so I'm going to continue that way until I get to the top. So this is where I have the 3 double crochet stitches. I'm going to skip the previous one, and into the first one of that 3 double crochet stitch I made 1 double crochet stitch. So now into the middle one I'm going to make 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, and then into the next stitch I'm going to make a double crochet stitch. So the next stitch, a double crochet stitch, chain 1, then skip 1 stitch and place a double crochet stitch into the second one, chain 1, skip 1 stitch and place a double crochet stitch into the following one until I get to the end. So I am at the end now, and I have 1 stitch left. I'm just going to go ahead and place my last double crochet stitch into that space. Okay, so I'm not supposed to complete this double crochet stitch because I am changing colors. So pick the pink yarn and use it to chain to complete the last double crochet stitch I did. Then I'm going to chain 1. So I am going to go into the very first stitch and make a double crochet stitch, and then into the next one make a double crochet stitch. Then I'm going to go into this chain 1 space and make a tulip stitch. Chain 2, go into the next chain 1 space, make a tulip stitch. So I'm just repeating the tulip stitch row here. Okay, and I'm going to do that until I get to the top. So I am at the top now. I'm going to make my double crochet stitch there, and this is where I have the 3 double crochet stitches, and like before, into the middle one of that 3 double crochet stitches I'm going to make 3 double crochet stitch into that middle space, that middle stitch. Then into the next one a double crochet stitch, into the next stitch a double crochet stitch. So now we've come to the point where we have our chain 1 space, and into the chain 1 space I'm going to make a tulip. So for this tulip row we are only working into the chain 1 spaces. We're only doing the tulip into the chain 1 spaces. Okay, and I'm just going to continue the tulip stitch until I get to the end of this row. Okay, so I am at the end now, and I'm going to cut my yarn. So I'm going to pick up my green yarn and make a slip knot because I am changing to the green color now. Alright, so I'm supposed to do a chain 1, okay, as a nest so that I can have the 2 eyes for this part. Then I'm going to use my new yarn to I'm going to drag out the new yarn out of that chain one. This is the green one yarn. Then I'm going to turn the project and go into the very first stitch, okay, and place a single crochet stitch. Okay, so go into the next stitch, which is this next second eye of the tulip, and make a single crochet stitch. Okay, so for the single crochet stitch, insert your hook, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through. Insert your hook, grab a loop from behind, yarn over and pull through. And you're just going to continue working only into the eyes of the tulip. Okay, so 1 and 2. We're not working into the chain spaces. We're not working in between the tulip. We're working on top into the 2 eyes on top. Okay. All right, so I am at the top now, and I'm just going to work my single crochet stitches until I reach the middle of the 3 double crochet stitches, sorry, that I made into one space. So you see I have 1 2 3, and into the middle one I'm going to make my single crochet stitch there. Okay, and then I'm going to make a long chain from here. So this is a chain that is going to tie to the back, that I'm going to tie around my neck, sorry. So I'm doing this just so I can have a continuous work. I don't want to finish the bra cup and then start attaching the yarn later for the strap. So at this point now I'm going to skip the first stitch, and into the second one I'm going to make a single crochet stitch, and then I'm just going to make single crochet stitches into all of the chains all the way until I get back to this point. Okay, all right, so I am back at this point, and I'm just going to complete working the single crochet stitches. I think I have 2 chains left, so I'm just going to work into the 2 chains, and after doing that I'm just going to go right into that same space, so into that same middle double crochet stitch. I'm going to place a single crochet stitch there as well. Okay, so after doing that I'm just going to go ahead into the next stitch and place a single crochet stitch, and into the next one a single crochet stitch until I get to the tulip, where I am going to be working only into the eyes of the tulip and not in between them. And then when I get to the end I'm going to place my last single crochet stitch, making sure I go into the last stitch, chain 1, and then I'm going to cut. So I am done with this cup for now, and here I'm just attaching the tail end. Okay, so it's always good to attach your tail end this way so you'd have a nice finish. Okay, yes. All right, so I'm just going to show you now how I'm going to be attaching this tail end into the stitches. So just watch. I'm just grabbing the tail end with my crochet hook, and I'll go into the stitch and drag it out. So that's basically it for this. Okay, and I hope you get what I'm doing here. So just watch. Anyway, you can actually, if you have a better way of attaching this yarn tail, you can just go ahead and put it in the comment section. I'll be very happy to see that, but this is the only way I know for now, and this is why I don't like working with colors, because when I have to like change colors in for the rows, I know I have a lot of yarn tails to work in, and I really don't like that. All right, so I just want to measure my cup now. It measures 7 inches, and I think this is a C cup. So because this is slightly bigger than medium, but you can just place this on your boobs to see when it fits, if you need to do more rows or less rows. Okay, so for the down part of the top, I'm going to make a long chain, so the chain that is going to cover from one side of my back to the other side. okay? So I am working with my own measurement, and that's 23 inches. So after making your chains, you're going to skip 2 chains and make a double crochet stitch into the 3rd chain, and from here you're just going to keep making double crochet stitches into all of the chains until you get to the end of the chain, okay? So until you get to the end, and when you come to the end of the chain, you're just going to chain 2, turn the project, and go into the 1st stitch, make a double crochet stitch into the next one, and into the following stitches you're just going to make double crochet stitches until you get to the end. At the end again, I'm just going to do my last stitch, chain 2, turn the project, and continue beginning from the very 1st stitch all the way to the last stitch. And I'm just going to work rows of these until I have the length that I want, okay? So I've worked 8 rows, and I'm going to end this row by doing a shell stitch at the edge. Okay, so ensure that you work an even number of stitches so that your shell stitch will be facing the right side of your project, okay? So you're going to work as many rows as you want. If you want your top to be lower, you can do that. So to begin my shell stitch, I'm going to chain 1 at where I stopped, turn the project, and into that very 1st stitch I'm going to make a single crochet stitch, then skip 2 stitches, and into the 3rd one make 5 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then skip the next 2 stitches, and into the 3rd one make a single crochet stitch. Skip 2 stitches, into the 3rd one make 5 double crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Skip the next 2 stitches, and into the 3rd one make a single crochet stitch. Skip the next 2 stitches, into the 3rd one place 5 double crochet stitches in that same space, okay? And I'm just going to continue working like this. So this is a shell stitch that I am going to use to end this row. So you see it looks good. All right, so I'm just going to continue working this way until I get to the end of this row for the shell stitch row. So I've come to the end now, and I have 2 stitches left. If you have 3 stitches left, that's fine, but it doesn't really matter. Even if you have 1 stitch left, just go into the last stitch you have and place your single crochet stitch, chain 1, and cut. And that's it for the down part. So here I'm just hiding my yarn tail, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is to attach my cups to this panel. So I'm just going to bring my cups now, and I'm going to look for the middle. I might eyeball the middle, but just for clarity, I'm going to count 10 stitches by the left and 10 stitches by the right, and I'm going to place a stitch marker into the 11th one, just so that we can have equal sides on the both sides of the panel. So count 10 stitches out from here, and into the 11th one I'm going to place a stitch marker. So you can do whatever measurement that you feel is fine for you, okay? And then I'm going to grab my needle, and I'm going to go into that space where I insert my stitch marker. Sorry for my yarn stitch marker, okay? That's just to mark. So I'm going to attach until I get to the middle. So I've just eyeballed the middle now. You can count if you want this to be like perfect. You can count so you have equal stitches on both sides, but I just eyeballed it, and I'm just going to grab my both panels like this. So I'm just going to make sure I'm going into the both panels, and I am going to insert my yarn using my needle tie, and I'll just start sewing the sides together right now. So I'm working on the wrong side of this work. I think you can just tell where the wrong side is, okay? So I'm going to be working on the wrong side, so the rough part will be inside. And you can sew this whatever way you think is perfect for you, okay? You don't have to follow my exact way of sewing this. Just do whatever you think it's easier for you or what you like. But this is how I am sewing the both panels together, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew this until I get to the middle part. Then I'll grab my second panel and continue sewing. So continue attaching. I've gotten to this middle now, and I'm just going to attach my panel. So the stitch marker is just to make it easy for me to not exceed where I'm supposed to work one panel, so it won't look like one panel has a longer space than the other side, so it will be properly aligned. Okay, so I just grab my second panel and go into that space just next to the other cup panel, and I'm just going to continue attaching until I get to where I have my stitch marker on the other end. So just keep attaching. Let's just watch what I'm doing, see how I am attaching. So I've come to where I have this stitch marker, and I am just going to attach into that last stitch there. Then I'm going to tie. Okay, so this is just to secure the project so it doesn't fall off. And that's it, guys. The top is ready. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to sew in the yarn tail. If this part is too wide, you can do a small chain and tie it there. It's going to look like a bow tie. So I made a very long chain that I am going to use to attach to the back side of my top. So this is where I am going to use, so this strap is what I'm going to use to tie the top at the back. So you can make a long chain whichever way, whatever length you want the chain to be. Okay, so this is how I'm attaching this strap. I'm just doing like an X at the back, and at the other end. Okay, I think the other one should come this way. Yes. Okay, and that's it, guys. So I hope you're able to follow this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please don't forget to leave it for me in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye.